Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet yet again for another tutorial. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are doing the messy bun beanie, which I've been promising you for a few weeks now. We've finally got it complete, so we'll be able to do it today. I'm hoping to squeeze it all into one tutorial today. I do not want to do it in a part series. We have the front and the back. It's simply gorgeous. Now yours truly, I managed to do the ribbing part, and right at the very end I did my unconventional join, and yours truly messed up. I forgot to record the part where I weaved in that end together to show you how to keep it together so that your next round can just go round and round and round without, any issues. But I did it again in a small swatch for you in the middle of the tutorial so that you could see how to join it. So it happens, I sometimes forget to hit the record button, it happens. But you haven't missed out. I popped a small swatch for you right before the next series, and, in between I think I ended up putting it away for a few days and then coming back to it, which is the reason why I have different nails halfway through the series of the beanie. So there you go. How gorgeous is the half double crochet in the front loops and then half double crochet in the back, and then front and then back all the way up. And even when we are decreasing up the top, we are still going to be using the half double crochet in the front and the back. I made it loose enough for even the thicker bun or the thicker hair to fit in, because not everybody has thin hair. I mean, mine's thinned out a little bit the past few years, it happens, but not everybody has thin hair. So I made my space up the top a little bit big, because I can't wear this because it's not cotton, sadly. In fact, I'll explain it to you. It is Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury. It is a gorgeously soft yarn. It calls for a 4mm hook, and we actually used the 4mm hook in this tutorial because I want to sell the project at the end of this tutorial. It is actually 100% wool, and they have dye lots and everything there and your shades. You don't need to worry about that, because guess what, guys? I used only about, I think, 100 grams worth of yarn here, okay? And I'm quite happy with it. Well, just under 100 grams. I think it worked out to be about 80 something. 100 grams worth made this messy bun beanie. You will need your scissors, okay, any kind, it doesn't matter. And you will also need that sewing, darning, weaving needle, whichever you want to call it, to weave in the very last end. So there you go. That's your messy bun beanie. Now, I'm not going to talk anymore. We are just going to get started. All right, first thing we're going to do is form a slip knot. Yarn over the finger once and twice. Actually, make it a bit longer. Make your thread a little bit longer. Sorry, should have explained this before, because we're going to use a large amount of thread to weave our beanie up later. So I don't know, just about 30 centimeters, if you will. I'm not sure what that is in inches. Let's have a quick look. About 30 centimeters, 12 inches. Okay. All right, so yarn over finger once and then twice. Okay, pass that back loop halfway over, hold it there. Pass the other loop all the way over and hold it there. Pop your hook in and just give it a gentle tug. We might get a nice close-up. If you do find these stitches difficult to see, please leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I will upload a chunky version of the actual first part of the pattern, all right? You need to chain up 9. So yarn over hook, pull through the loop once and twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, there's your 9 chains. What we are doing now is we are forming the ribbed section of the beanie. There are the 3 loops here. Okay, usually I put them through 2 of the loops, which one is underneath and 2 is on top. For this beanie, we are going to pop it through the very top loop right there, or front loop if you will. Okay, you are doing a single crochet. You are popping your hook in that first loop right there, pulling the thread through, pull up a loop, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Easy? This is probably too close now, sorry guys. I'm going to do another one. In that loop right there, yarn over hook, pull up a loop, yarn over hook, pull through 2. Okay, so that's your second one. You need a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, and 8. All right, so you should initially have 8 V's. Now, the V's are these things right here. V, V, and V. All right, you should have 8 V's. What we're going to do, see, there's your very long tail. Do not cut that. You will need that at the end, okay? Okay, so now what we're going to do, turn your work. Now turn either way you want, but remain consistent. Before you turn though, we're going to chain up 1, okay? Turn your work. Ordinarily, we would put your hook in those 2 loops right there. And we're going to do that for our very first stitch. Now, it's a bit tricky, this stitch, and it's very hard to see, but your first stitch goes right there, okay? So you're going to put your hook in there, pull up a loop, and do a normal single crochet in that first stitch. With the others, however, we are going to put the hook through the back loop right there. All right, so you're going to do your single crochet. Let me get a nice close-up for you. Right there. Your single crochet in that back loop. 1. Single crochet in the back loop of the other one next to it. 2 and 3 and 4. If you're wondering exactly where I'm putting it, let me show you. These 2 loops right here are your normal loops. Right there. You are not putting it in that front loop right there. You're putting in that back loop right there. So we've done 4. 5. Don't do it all the way across because the last one we're not going to do this. 6. All right. So initially you have 1 normal in the front, 6 back loop, and then 1 normal at the end. You're picking up both the loops at the end, okay? So that's a normal, and there you go. You have formed the first part of your rib. Now you're going to chain 1, turn again, the same way you turned before. Keep consistent, okay? And you're going to put a single crochet. Now that very first stitch is tricky to find, but it's right there. You're going to do a normal single crochet in there and pull up your loop like so. Now we're going to do the back loops again for 6 single crochets across. So back loop 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Now you've got your last stitch right there. Right there. That's your normal single crochet. No back loops, just in both loops. Pull the loop through and finish off your single crochet. You may already start to see a tiny ridge. It's all happening, okay? Now, chain 1, turn. Now this is where you do this next row right here, and you're going to repeat this row over and over again. So let's do this next row again. We're putting it in that first stitch there, both the loops, normal single crochet. Now single crochet in the back loops of your next 6 stitches. Okay. Easy so far? Remember, if you're having troubles, just leave some information in the comment section down below and I will upload a chunky version of this. All right, so you need to pop your normal single crochet at the end of this row. There you go, chain 1 and get ready to continue your rows over and over again. Now, how many rows do you make? Well, here you ask. Now, kind of depends on your length and your measurement. Now yours truly measured my head. Now let's see if I can draw you a quick picture. I know I'm not very good at drawing, guys, so bear with me. Right, here's your head. Hopefully your head is rounder than mine. There's your eyes. We'll forget about all this. You don't need it. And there's your little nose and your mouth, okay? But your ears are here, okay? Or close to it. All right, I'm not good at drawing. I do apologise. And here is your ponytail. Or your messy bun. Whatever you want to call it, messy bun. Right, let's just say it's a ponytail for now, because it can be called a ponytail beanie as well. It's not the prettiest picture in the world, I do apologise, but I just wanted to show you pretty much where you should have your beanie sitting. Now, in the colder months, it is better to have your beanie sitting very low down the back of your neck there and over your ears. Now, I know some people don't like their ears completely covered. Yours truly does, which is the reason why I keep my hair long. Not because there's anything wrong with my ears. It's because I like to keep my ears warm. So there is your beanie coming up the side there. When you get to the top, if you cut it short, your beanie is going to tag and it's going to lift up a little bit. So leave quite a bit of give here, all right? And the same with your other side, close to your neck. And whoops, I didn't leave my give there, sorry. Leave quite a bit of give there. Now, if you want, you can pop an elastic band up the top when you're ready to do. So I said I wouldn't. So there's your beanie, should be like that, all right? And this is all beanie. All beanie. Now, that is not the prettiest picture in the world, but I'm trying to show you what it would be like. So you need to have your circumference from here to here. If you want to be on the safe side, you can make it a little bit bigger than what you measure. When you join the piece together, when this goes in the round and we join it together, pop it on your head and check it out. Check the measurement out. If it doesn't suit you, or if you're not happy with it, it's too tight or too loose, just give or take a few extra rows. My rows ended up to be about 78 rows. Now, don't quote me on this because I have a, sounds weird, but I have a tiny head. A little bit of chubby cheeks and all, but the actual head itself is quite small. So don't do what I did. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you the piece in full and we're going to measure it along, okay? Now it's very tiny, my piece, and here's a measuring tape. Now I'm going to measure it, but 42. Now don't measure from yours and say that's it, 42 centimeters or 16.5 inches. No. I made mine to be very, very tight. So when it's on my head, it kind of pulls like that because that's the way I like my beanies to be, extremely tight. All right, so where you need to be, okay, your tail end needs to be down the bottom on the right and your looped end needs to be up the top. Alrighty guys, here is where I messed up the recording. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did it. So I've just done a little tiny swatch for you to show you how to join it together and to sew up that little side seam as well. That's where you should be at. All right. So here we are at the end of the row. And the way it worked out, this is the way we were working. Right, I got to the end of that row. Normally you would chain, so we're going to chain the space there. Then we're going to turn our work to the side. We're not going to turn it around like we've been doing the whole time. We're just going to turn it to the side. We are going to work along this side now, okay? You need to pop single crochets in every space, like so. You're going to skip this first space because you've got a single crochet in there already. And you're going to go straight into that very second space and do your single crochet. All right? single crochet in that next space right there, single crochet in the next, and the next. You should be able to see them. There should be 2 spaces in each indentation, if that makes any sense. I'm hoping that part makes sense. So there should be a space on that one and a space in the middle. Okay, so let's single crochet all the way across. So you go ahead and do your single crochets all the way across, get to the end of your row right here, or the second last stitch right there, and I'll meet you up. All right, so here we are at the end of our row, all single crochets there. We're going to pop a single crochet in that very last space right there. That line right there is our slip stitches, so we're not going to do anything with that. All right, now here's where the unconventional bit is. Okay, I'll show you. You need to bring your piece into the round so it looks like so. All right, blow that up a little bit so I can show you properly. Okay, so you've got your single crochet there. So all you're doing initially is slip stitching into that space right there. Okay, that's all we've done. We've slip stitched into there. Easy. That's all we needed to do. Then we chain up 1 and 2, and we half double crochet in that very same stitch. I'm going to show you. This is a part where we're doing our half double crochets in our front loops or our back loops. Now loops are here. There's all your V's along there. Now, these are the loops. Okay, you're putting your loop in your front loop, but not your back loop for the first row. So you've got 2 loops there. It's going to be just the front and front. The next row will be in the back. So there's your front sitting right there. But for this row, we're going to do it in the front. And we are going to do the first stitch in the same stitch as our chains. So yarn over hook, pop your hook back in that same stitch, but just in 1 loop. Your other loop is sitting at the back. All right, pull your loop through, and there's your first half double. Yarn over hook, pull through the loop. And I'll show you again. So yarn over hook, your very next stitch is there. You're going to pop it in the first loop, that front loop right there. Yarn over hook, pull up a loop, yarn over hook, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Do it again in the next stitch. Remember, front loops only. All right, there you go. And the next, and the next. All right, easy. If you guys are having trouble doing front loops and back loops, just let me know and I will pop on a chunky version next week or in another couple of days. If you let me know in the comment section down below, I'll pop on a chunkier version for you to see. So it will be easier for you to see where I'm popping the actual hook. So leave a message in the comment section down below and I'll do that. If not, I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. Okay, so go ahead, finish this row, get to this stitch right here at the end of the row, like the second last stitch. Don't do the last one, just do the second one, last one, so I can show you what to do here. And that's when we'll do our end. Okay, and so go ahead and do that and meet me up. All right, so here we are at the end of the row. We are going to pop a last front half double crochet there. Okay, so what you have now initially is this, the big space there and a gap there. So what you're going to do is, now this is where it's really important because you're going to be doing this every row. The first 2 chain stitches you did, we're not going to slip stitch into the chain. We are going to slip stitch into the actual double crochet stitch right there. If you slip stitch into the chains, you are going to be increasing all the way up. You don't want to do that. The chains there are going to just close up your beanie so that you don't have space gaps all the way through. Okay? So what you're going to do is pop it in that space, pull the loop through, and pull the loop through there. So it's closed it up, stopping you from getting a gap. So now we are going to chain up 2, 1 and 2. Remember this one here, we did half double crochets in the front loop. With this row here, we're going to do half double crochets in the back loop. Okay, so there's your chains, and for every row you are going to pop the half double crochet in that same stitch you just popped your chains through. Okay, so half double crochet in the back loop, bit tricky, but you can find it in that stitch there. Okay, and there's one. Half double crochet in your next stitch. Remember, we're doing the back loops this time. Now this is how you're going to form your ridge. There. Alrighty. And your next one. And without splitting the yarn, I'm doing well today. And your next one. And so on and so forth. So let's show you what you're doing now. This is where the ridge is forming, right there, see? You're already starting to get a little ridge happening here. So what I want you to do, continue in that manner until you get to the second last stitch. Then we're going to slip stitch and do a couple of stitches, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do with that space right there, okay? So go ahead, continue there, get to your second last stitch, and I'll meet you up. All right, we're here at the end of this row. Now we have one more stitch to go, so we're going to pop it in the back loop as we've been doing all along. Okay, and now all you have to do, remember our slip stitching is not going in those chains, it's actually going in the double crochet, the half double crochet stitch. I can get it in. And there, nice tight stitching I have there. Pull the loop through and pull the loop through. Now you've closed it up. Before we do this, we're going to start this row because I want to remember what loop we're in. Now we've been doing the back loop, we're going to be doing the front loop now. So we're chaining up 1 and 2, and we're going to do a half double crochet in that front loop of the same stitch that you're in. Try not to split it like I just did. There you go. Pull a loop through and through there. And then you'll do the next in the front loop of the next stitch. Front loop of the next stitch. Front loop of the next stitch. And so on. Just pull that loop up for a minute. Now, this is the unconventional part, okay? But I say unconventional, however, when sewing this part in, I used to always find that when I sewed it in, from there up to there, it would be a little bit out of place and crooked. This way, if I do it this way and join it first and then sew it up, it's never crooked, okay? So what we're going to do, this is the right side of our work. To sew this in, we want to sew it in the wrong side, so we're just going to turn it through the other way, all right? So you actually have the work inside out at the moment. Grab your darning or sewing weaving needle, whichever you like to call him. Thread him however way you like to thread. And get ready for some weaving. Now, the reason I want to show you this weaving is because I want you to see the way it's done this unconventional way. All right, so there is your tail end. It's still attached because that was the very first stitch we made. So you're going to just pop your needle in through that first stitch with the 2 threads right there and pull it through. Open it up. Perfect. You're going to go over it again. Just one more time. So you're popping it in the same place, maybe a little bit different. You might want to make a separate hole if you want. Might pay to pop your loop on that side just for this part here. Okay. So what it's done is it's just reinforced that very first stitch. Now you're going to go up and down the unconventional way that I like to do. So there you go. Go into your next stitch right there and then bring it through there. Pretty cool, huh? And then you've got another stitch right next to it and bring it through the next stitch on the opposite side. Go the other way, in and out of stitching as best you can. Remember, this is the inside, so no one is going to see it. If you've messed up a stitch, it will not be noticed. Okay, and it's not just the inside, it's the inside and the back part of your beanie. So don't stress too much. Here, it's a little bit tricky. You might want to open up so you can see what you're doing. Okay. Getting right to the very end, but you still have to make sure it's all closed up because I can see a big gap there. So keep going. And right up to that single crochet right there. If you want to see how it's going, you can turn it inside out and have a look. It's looking good to me. I can still see the needle there because we're going to put it through the last loop right there. Now, best part is, don't go over it again because it'll thicken it. Just pass it through one of the loops here, any loop you want, and do what you normally do to weave in and out. This will strengthen your thread. It'll never come undone. And you're weaving in as you go, and you've closed the beanie as well. So yes, it's a little bit unconventional, but it does work, and it makes your, oh, if I can get this out, makes your stitch look gorgeous and even all over. Okay, one more time. Normally I wouldn't put it through 4 or 5 times. I'd only pull it through 3, but why not? For the sake of making sure the beanie stays in place, why not? Give it a cut. We're going to turn it back. Remember to turn it back the way you started. And I don't even know where it is now. Where's your back? Oh, there it is. Oops, too close. Sorry, guys. I got too excited there. Okay, that's where your seam is. All right, gorgeous, yeah? A little bit unconventional, but it looks perfect. You can't even tell you've got one there. Now, you probably would have been paid to give that first one a bit of a tug, but it's already back into place, so that's fine. How cool is that? Okay, so we're going to just quickly, actually you can do this off air if you like. We started doing our half double crochets in the front loops here. I want you to continue this row until you get to the other side right there and meet me there. All right, here we are at the end of the row. We have our last stitch. Remember, we're doing our front loops. Okay. All right, so now what we need to do, remember what we've been doing all along? Missing those chain stitches, and we're slip stitching straight into the double crochet right there. Pull the loop through there, and there's your join. Okay, so now you're going to chain up 2, 1 and 2. We were putting our half double crochets in the front loops, so now we're going to be putting them in the back loops. Oops, we're doing the same stitch that we're just in. I'd almost forgotten that one. The same stitch that we just went into, okay, right there. And then we're doing back loops all the way across this row. I'm figuring you're getting the picture now, guys. One row is front loops, one row is back loops, and so on, and etc., and all those other rows. All right, the big question you need to ask yourself is, how big do I want my beanie to be? So this is where you'll need your measuring tape. Now yours truly was off air for a moment so I could measure my circumference and so on of my head. However, roughly, let's see if I can get a nice close-up for you. Okay. Roughly, the measurement you will need is 12 centimetres or 5 inches. So go ahead and do that. Do your 12 centimetres or 5 inches and come back and meet me up, okay? All right, here we are at the end of our rows. Yay! Now what mine measures here is, so that you can get the gist of everything. So roughly mine measures about 18 centimetres or 7 inches altogether. Okay, now when I said 12, I meant 12 from that last stitch that we worked on, which was there. All right, that last row, I should say, that we worked on, which was there. But so altogether, you should have about 18 centimetres or 7 inches. Now, there's no real trick to measurement. My suggestion is, If you are making for yourself, measure it on your head, and that's the best way to do it. However, if you are making for someone else, make sure it's that extra few, maybe an extra row, just in case, because not everybody has the same head as yourself. It's better to have a little bit extra than a little bit less, because I've been caught before where I've done one row less, assuming that most people have smaller heads than myself, and it's been too small. So yeah, it's probably better to have that extra row than not. All right, if it puffs up a little bit up the top, it kind of looks nice. All right, so don't stress too much. So what we're going to do, we are going to do what we've been doing all along. Oh, hang on, where are we up to? We are, can't remember what row we're up to, it's been a while. It doesn't matter what side you've landed on, okay? If you've landed on front loops only at the end of the row, there, like so, your next row needs to be back loops, okay? But if you've landed on back loops, this next row needs to be front loops. Now don't stress, I'll show you both ways so you can see. But the first thing we do is slip stitch into the top of that first stitch that we've been doing all along, okay? Not the chains, the actual double crochet, slip stitch it through. Chain up 1 and 2. It's just to close up a gap, so I wouldn't stress too much about that. Now we finished off on the front loops, so we are going to start on the back loops for this stitch. It's called the decrease stitch. Now I'll show you a back loop one and then I'll show you a front loop one, just in case you are on the front loop section. All right, so the first one we're going to show you is a back loop one. So you put your double crochet in your back loop like normal. I'm lying, your half double crochet in your back loop like normal. Pull the loop through like normal. Hold it there, because we are going to decrease in that very first stitch. So pop it in your next stitch and pull the loop through. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook. Pull your thread, pop a loop over first, and then pull your thread all the way through. Now you actually crocheted 2 together, okay? So when you come back around, it'll look like just 1, so we've decreased, okay? So I'm going to do, I can't remember now, 4, 1, half double, 2, half doubles. I'm trying to remember the pattern, I'm sorry guys. 3 half doubles. Oh yes. Now your 4th and 5th are going to be a decrease. Now we just did the back loops decrease to show you a back loop. I'm going to show you a front loop. I'm going to take it undone because I'm doing back loops, but I'm just quickly going to show you a front loop. So you put your yarn, I'm lying, your yarn over hook like normal, your hook through your front loop like normal, pull the loop through, hold it there, pop it through your next stitch, pull a loop through, and you should have your 4 loops on your hook and pull all the way through. And don't lose a stitch like I just did. Okay, so that has closed it up. Now I'm going to go back to back loops because I'm on back loops. All right, so my back loops are hook through, pull it through, and in one more. Okay, so on your 4th and 5th stitch you are going to close up your stitch to make it half double crochet 2 together in the back loops. All right, sounds tricky, but it's actually not. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Half double crochet 1 and 2, this is normal, and 3. All right, now we're on our 4. Our 4 and 5 need to be crocheted together. So pop your hook in, pull up a loop, hold it there, pop it in your next back loop, pull up a loop, and hold it there. Now if you're doing front loops, do your front loops and not your back, okay? Yarn over hook, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. And we're going to do one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now 4 and 5 we're doing together. Pop it in your front loop, pull up your loop, I'm lying, your back loop, sorry guys, and then pop it through the 5th one, okay, like so, 4 loops, yarn over hook, pull through all 4 loops on your hook. All right, so how gorgeous is that? You can't even tell that we've double crocheted 2 together, hardly noticeable. All right, so what I want you to do, Just get to your last 4 stitches and meet me there. Now I haven't actually done my 4 and 5 together, but if I did a 4 and 5 together and then did one more stitch and then had 2 there, it would be too much. So I'm not stressed too much on how this evens out at the end. I really am not. So what I'm going to do is just put a normal few double crochets in the back loop, half double crochets, sorry, in the back loop until I got to the end. If you ended up with your half double together around the 3rd, just on that 4th right there, that would have been okay. You could do 2 more and it would have matched up. I'm not, again, not stressed about that because we're going to do some measurements in a minute, all right? It's a forgiving pattern in this area, so don't stress, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is just slip stitch into the top of that very first double crochet. Remember, not your chains, just a double crochet. Pull the loop through like that. Now I did my half doubles in the back loops, so my next row is going to be half doubles in the front loops. So we're chaining up 1 and 2, and again we are going to put, now remember, if you're doing it the opposite to me, then do the opposite, okay? I'm doing front loops. We're still going to do our half double crochet in that first front loop, the same stitch that we're in, plus we're going to share it with the other. So actually we're decreasing that first stitch. So it's exactly the same thing we've been doing, and we're doing it in the front loop. The next one is half double in the next stitch. Oh, this is very close. Sorry, guys. In the next, whoops, in your next stitch, so half double 1 and half double a second one. Now, before we decreased between 4 and 5, the 4 and 5th stitch. Now we're going to decrease between the 3rd and the 4th stitch. So we've just done 2 half double crochets in their front loops. So now we're going to do the 3rd one and the 4th one together. Okay? And then we go 1, 2, and then we do our 3rd and our 4th together. Easy? So we're just counting 1 and 2. And then we're doing 3 and 4 together as one stitch. So continue in that manner until you get back to the last 3 or 4 stitches and meet me there. All right, so here we are at the end of the row. We've got 1, 2, 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3 stitches left. Again, I'm just going to do my normal 3 half doubles across. I'm not going to add any more in there. It's only going to have it too short on one section. So last 3 or 4 stitches left, just do them like normal. Okay, slip stitch there. Sorry about that. Okay, now slip stitch into your first 2 together up the top there, like so. Pull the loop through, chain up 1 and 2. Now I was putting them in the back loops there, so now I'm going to be doing front loops. I don't know what you were up to, but I was up to front loops. Now the best part about this row, guys, is I think we're close to the end. So we're going to do a half double in that very first stitch we did, the same stitch that we're in. Hold it there, and in that second stitch, oops, in the second stitch as well. All right, pull the loop through and you've joined 2 together. Now you do 1, and then you do 2 and 3 together, and then you do 1, and you do 2 and 3 together. 1 and 2 and 3 together. 1 and 2 and 3 together. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to let you go off on your own. Finish this row like we did with the other one, and when you get to the last 3 stitches, meet me here. Alright guys, I have our last 3 loops to go, so I'm just going to be putting, it might have been 4, I can't remember, half doubles in our front loops. I'm not going to bother doing 2 together at all here because we have 2 together right in that very first stitch here. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've done front loops here, so we need to do back loops on that side. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch to the top of that stitch right there. I'm sorry, is that too far for you guys? There we go, slip stitch to the top right there, chain 1 and 2. Okay, now since I did the front loops here, I now have to do the back loops on this row. I'm not sure where you're up to, just be wary about that. Okay, so it doesn't really matter because up the top no one's going to see it where the messy bun part is. So if you've done 2 rows in the same, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I'm going to put them in the back loop. So half double, we'll start it in the back loop of our stitch, pull the loop up, hold it there, and do the second stitch. So we're doing 2 together in the very first stitch. All right, so now it's half double once, and then it's 2 together, 1 and 2. So there, you're with this row here, all you're doing is 1 half double in your next one, and your next one is 2 together. So really you're just doing 1 and 2, 1 and 2, half double in the 1, and then your 2. Whoops, I think I've pulled too many loops there, my apologies. And then your if you can get into that stitch there, 2 together, half double in the next one, and then 2 together. All right, so what I want you to do, keep doing this round all the way until you get to the last, say, 3 stitches, and meet me there. All right guys, I'm here at the end of the row. Now I've done my last, let's bring this up a little bit, 2 together here. I want this to be the last decrease row we do. So I've measured my beanie, and I'd like for you to measure yours as well. So in the middle of there, right to the end. Now mine measured up to be about 13 centimetres, we'll say 12 centimetres, and that's the little gap you've got in there. I think 12 is too wide for my ponytail, but if we do another row of decrease, it comes up to about 7, and then we do our single crochet, and your ponytail gap is too small. So I think no matter where you've ended up at the end of this row, on your last 2 stitches, just do another decrease. So I'm going to do another decrease in there, 1, 2 together, like so. Then I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that very first stitch that we started with, like we've been doing all along. Now, let's just pull this loop up and have a look-see at how wide it will be. We're not finished yet, guys. We have 1 more row to do. So from there to there, it now officially measures about, I think, 10. Let's see if I can do it on the side for you and bring it out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so from that space to the very end space, it works out to be about 10. If you look carefully, it might even be 11, which is fine, okay? Because our next row is going to be a single crochet row. And this single crochet row, guys, is going to be through both loops. First thing we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and then do a single crochet in that very same stitch, okay? And then single crochet in the next. Now with this single crocheting, remember we are putting it through both those loops. Keep going all the way across through every stitch you come to. Now guys, ordinarily I know there are a lot of people who put elastic bands in their messy bun beanies up the top. Personally, I don't do them because what happens is they break anyway eventually and you end up with a stretched out top bit anyway. So I thought instead we just put a nice row of single crochets, and when you measure this on your head at the end of this row, if it doesn't feel tight enough to you, I'm going to show you what we're going to do after that. Okay. Oh, it's been fun doing the messy bun beanie. I really have enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Okay, and don't forget, you can share your pictures of your messy bun beanies or anything that you have created with us at Wow Crochet. You can share them on my Facebook page. That link will be in the description box down below, just underneath all the stitches. Okay, there you go. We are doing so well. We are almost at the end of the row. Almost. The joy of it being less stitches now. It works, the row works up real quickly. Okay, nearly there. Oh, actually, I think we're there. That's our last stitch. I'm getting too excited. I'm getting crochet happy. I'll show you where the last stitch is. Right, that was our slip stitch. We joined there. And there's our last stitch right there. And there is our next stitch. We are going to slip stitch into that first single crochet that we did. Okay, it does look a little gappy, but that is the tiny little gaps that we've done our crocheted two together. So just pull a loop through and up and over. Now, this is where you should be at the end of your messy bun beanie. Oh, I better bring that out. Sorry, guys. This is where you should be. I'm not going to cut the thread yet because I want to show you something else. All right, I'm going to leave my messy bun beanie like that, and then I'm going to weave in the end, at the end, in a minute. However, if you found that your gap here to here has made it to, I would say 9 centimeters or 3.5 inches for the gap, that gap right there. And if you find that is too big and you want it smaller, I would suggest if it's made for you, you can adjust to suit. If you're making for someone else, I would leave that 3.5 inches or whatever it was, 3.5 inches or 9 centimeters, because some people have nice thick hair and it's really hard for them to pop a messy bun beanie with their nice thick hair in a very small circle. However, if you're making for yourself and you want your little circle there to be that little bit smaller, even smaller, instead of doing a row of single crochets, again, what you can do, now this will really tighten up your work. Okay, so I wouldn't advise it, but if you want, you can. You slip stitch, probably even do it in that first one. Slip stitch into the first stitch. Let's make that out of the way and blow this up because you're going to need to see these stitches nice and close. And then you just slip stitch into the next. And I'll show you at the end of this row how closed up that space looks. Slip stitch into your next and into your next. Already it feels too tight, so I wouldn't advise this, but you know, some people might have this really big spaced gap there. And again, this is a forgiving pattern, so you can either do this or you could leave it at the single crochet. I would leave it at the single crochet. In fact, I'm going to take this undone in front of you so you can see that I've left it. Okay, and what this stitch here does, it not only closes it up a bit, it tightens that area as well. So you no longer have an elastic feel there, which, you know, it's okay. It's up to you whether you like that. Everyone's different. We're all different. That's why I thought I'd show you this in case this is what you want. I'm nearly there. Don't forget, guys, you can check out my Etsy and my madeit.com.au stores. My Etsy and my madeit.com.au stores. Get it right, Mary? I don't know what I'm saying here. Whoops. Are we nearly there? Not yet. I thought I'd gone around twice. And actually I would advise when doing this, probably the best bid was to pop a stitch marker up the top. It might have been the best bid. Okay, there and there, one more. Oh no, there's a couple more. And there and there. And there's the very first slip stitch we started off with. If you can't pop your hook in there, just pop it in your next stitch, close it up, pull up a loop, and there's your little gap. Now see how tiny that gap is. It went from being 9 centimeters to 4 or 4.5. Far too small for my liking. I'm taking that undone and leaving the 9. If you did want it to be the 4.5, you can leave it, but I would rather have a larger space. So at this stage, what we're going to do, pull up your loop, give it a cut, pull the thread through, and my dears, you have now officially done your messy bun beanie. Yay! Don't forget to weave in this end. I'm not going to show you that, guys, unless you would like to see it. But we did weave in the end down here, if you remember correctly, in that earlier part of the series where I messed up and I had to redo it again. Yeah, so I've weaved in that end there, and all you need to do is weave in that end there, and you're done. So there you go. If you want, you can pop some embellishments on. I actually do like to put like a little flower here or there, or 1 or 2 there, but you know, I'm not going to fuss with this one because this is just a beanie to show you. All right. How gorgeous is this stitch? I know, I love, love, love. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell button so that you can receive further tutorials in your inbox. And like, subscribe, share, do all that jazz. And guess what, guys? Ciao for now.